Action.
Welcome to Yarmouth Print Shop and Gallery's Gallery Conversations. Tonight we're talking with Sukie Curtis, and the one thing that I hear most about her work is it's happy. People will come in and they'll look and they'll go, look closer, go, that has got a really happy feel. And I know it's got something to do with the color palette.
I think a lot has to do with the color palette.
How did you come to expressing yourself this way?
Well, that may go to the other question that you thought about asking me. This is really a second half of life thing for me. And my first professional chunk of life was as an Episcopal minister. And I'd like to think that's a joyful profession. However, there are some restrictions on it.
Don't get to wear a lot of color.
Right. And yes, exactly that. And so I think somehow it's like the lid came off, and when I decided I was ready to move on from that, and color is what really, it both draws me and seems to want to come out.
So did you always have a love for painting, or is this something you took up after?
I had a long yearning. You know, it's kind of like I really wanted to do this, but it was kind of like a two steps forward, one back, or sometimes one forward and two back, like a little dance. I think I was a little scared of painting.
Yeah.
And then
well, you're not scared
no,
anymore.
I seem not to be. Sometimes I scare myself, but yeah. So and I obviously am drawn to colorful things like radishes or blue plates.
It's like you did a lot of pears last year.
Right.
This year's radish and
Yeah.
iris. That's an ongoing thing for
Yeah.
you. And do you find yourself picking the flowers out of the garden and doing it as they come to you?
I do that sometimes, although my garden it's been neglected, I think. So there's not always, I do go to the farmer's market and buy flowers there. But I think often these do represent what's local and fresh, so probably at the farmer's market. These onions, for instance, were actually a brand new fresh bunch of onions about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now they're much browner. You know, so but they're I love their shapes and
there's so much to be said about an onion.
Yeah,
Peels,
right.
you know, they've got a lot there. And when you go to do an arrangement, do you just grab objects from around the house, or do you set something up specifically?
Well, this one I really did want to try. Something had gotten in my head, and I wanted to try sort of flattening, you know, sort of not having great illusions of depth in the painting, but just sort of a flat hodgepodge was kind of what I had in my head. So this is a favorite vase, and the olive oil can I thought was kind of picturesque.
Yeah.
And there was the one, you know, I just wanted
good
to
color,
stuff.
good color together too.
And then the background is kind of an invention because there was, that's not the color of my wall.
I'm surprised by that.
So, yes, that was a,
That is one thing that I've noticed about your work, that there's little shadow, and so that's intentional.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah, so I guess I'm more interested in sort of the flat surface of the painting, and occasionally, I mean, there's a little shadow here, but it's usually actually not necessarily from immediate observation. You know, I'm sort of making it up.
Yeah.
I don't have great lighting in my painting space either, so there's often not a great, so it's like, so I just was like, okay, I just feel like putting a shadow there rather than it being there. So, yeah, there's a good amount of invention, I would say, in most of my paintings.
How much time do you spend thinking about where you're going to place that color? Because, for instance, in your pears, you've got these little strokes of pink, and it's almost like you're using that as a shadow or to curve something.
Well, it varies. Like sometimes this is very maybe almost intuitive. Like I'm not thinking very much. Because when I come to the backgrounds, I can get a little stumped, and then you know, or if it's a painting that has sat around a long time, not quite being finished, then I you know, it's
Think
more of
about
a
it.
thought about thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But mostly just intuitive and
Yeah, and then
things looks good.
Yeah,
There it
and
goes.
it's often like, okay, what's delightful here? So,
Yeah.
so which maybe where the happy, the joyful side comes
Well, that
from.
is the one word that I continually hear about your work, and I have to say it's a good one for it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sukie.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching.